Everyone, this is Lee Goldstein, procall33@gmail.com. This is an unauthorized trade, meaning that no HIRA was sent out, but it's a Caixin Services report, 20:45 p.m., 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. It's Wednesday evening, and I believe this report's going to move because for the last 2 months it has moved because of market volatility. I've set a bracket distance of 3. I've set a trigger time for my brackets of 20:44:59, 1 second before the report is released. I've got a stop of 12, and I've got a target 1 of 6 ticks and a target 2 of 15 ticks. So I'll come back in a few minutes. We'll see how this report would have worked out. And my belief is that it will be a good moving report. So let's see what happens. I'll be back. Okay, so we've got about 45 seconds before the Caixin Services report gets released. It's Caixin Services PMI. It's March 2nd, 2016, 8:44 p.m. Reports released at 8:45. I do believe, because of the way it's moved the past 2 months, that it may very well be a good moving report. And it's unauthorized because there was no HIRA. What I do is I go through Forex Factory, investing.com, and I look for reports that I think might be good. Then I go back and test them, and then I test them on live data like I'm doing tonight. We got 1 second. Brackets are out. Let's see if this baby moves. And 5 seconds since the report's been released. 10 seconds. I'll usually give a report usually up to 2 minutes because sometimes the Chinese reports get released late, and I just think it's fair to give a report time. But you could see this probably was released. You did get a little bit of movement, not very much. You got a little more movement here. Let's take a look at, okay, that we're in, so it doesn't matter what the news is. But let's take a look at the news real quick. Investing.com gives you immediate data. And the service is 51.2 versus 52.6. Not that far off. I mean, it's a little negative. It's not horribly negative, and that's why we didn't get a very big move. So we've got 2 contracts. It just doesn't make sense to keep them both there because they're not going to both get hit. Let's combine them. Our stop is up here. We're going to bleed out some risk right above the the high of the day. As you can see, not much movement on this report, and that's because of the fact, most probably, the numbers were reasonably close. A little bit negative. Let's see real quick what they were expecting, which I didn't look. They were expecting 52.4. We got 51.2. It's a little bit negative, so I would expect some downward movement that we're not getting. So I'm pretty happy I didn't trade the report. I thought it was going to be a kicker and a mover because it moved and kicked the last 2 months. But the markets have calmed down this week. A lot of plays that we were using for day trading haven't been working because the markets are slower and not as crazy. So this is one way I look for new reports. I wouldn't rule this one out, but the fact that there was no HIRA leads me to believe that Jay again knows what he's doing. This was not a very exciting report to trade. Right now, I'd be down about 20 bucks if it was real. Let's take a look at the range. So we got into the report at 844.59, right? 844.59. Put the data box up, which I like to do. When the data box is up, then it shows you exactly where you are on the bar. So 2044.59 would be right about here. And you can see there's not really very much movement. That was 2042, so there's no movement there. 2044.30, no movement there. We're starting to get a little bit of bullish movement now. Um, so it looks like a legitimate short trade to me. We had a bracket of 3. I don't see it getting broken on the upside. So it looks like a legitimate job trade to the downside. We would be flat right now. We've been in the trade for 3 minutes, 36 seconds. Pretty agonizing. Not the way I like to trade. We're up 20 bucks, 40 bucks. I'm going to let it run though, because I think we're going to head down because the report was negative. So I would bleed a little bit more risk out. Let's see if I'm correct. And if we get the movement, we got the movement the other way. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to just let this put the report on pause for a second and come back in a minute or two. Okay, so I've been in this trade about 7, 8 minutes. Um, Down here was the highest profit I would have had so far on the trade. It was plus $80. It happened over here for more than a second or two, so I probably could have exited and gotten out for about a $60 profit. I moved my stops just so I'd still be in the trade when I restarted the video. That's not where the stops would have been. They would have been much closer in. If you remember, this one was down below, somewhere in there. As you can see, it's a pretty slow report. I'd like to at least make $100 if I'm going to trade a report, because I don't enjoy sitting in a report watching and watching and watching. The market's moving. I'm not really sure which way it's going to go. Yes, the data was a little bit negative, but price action's going both ways. It's not a fun way to trade generally. So, but it is interesting. It's probably a valid report. It's profitable. It could have made $60. And you could trade 6 contracts if you want, and then you'd make, 60 times 30 times 6, $180. So, because I had 2 contracts going, that's how I got $60. So, everybody has different ways of trading. There's different things you could do. Some people might want 1 or 2 ticks with 10 contracts. That's valid. So now it's reversed. It'd be a negative if I had stayed in this long, which I probably wouldn't have because it wasn't moving. So this was more educational, not looking to get money here, just looking to show you how I try to find new trades, new reports, what I do when I'm in the trade, and just things to think about while you're using the job system. So this is Lee Goldstein, procall33@gmail.com. Please feel free to email or send me any questions. Take care.